Alabama football had its first scrimmage of spring practice on today. Coach Saban speaking afterwards, pleased with the effort, the energy, the hitting, the intensity taking place inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Of course, Crimson Tide still a long way to go, but it's good to see Coach Saban talk about how proud he was of the players. But as we get into the big highlights from today, we start off with sophomore quarterback Bryce Young continuing to grow, continuing to develop, continuing to make big moves, big splashes in the quarterback room. He had a very strong day. Coach Saban mentioned how he made explosive plays out there on the field, put the ball in the hands of the playmakers, targeted a lot of guys. Been hearing around the program that he had around 4 touchdown passes in the first scrimmage. So we're already seeing he's taking on the mindset of offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien, making big plays, making splash plays there on the field, extending the play. Kudos to one Bryce Young. As we move on here to the second big highlight, we look at the wide receiver room for the Crimson Tide. Now, Slade Bolden had a big day, but the young players are also starting to step up. Javon Baker with some catches, Asia Hall, the freshman with some catches out there as well. We even had some catches, or saw some catches, from one Ja'Cory Brooks, also Trayshawn Holden on the field as well. But even with the young guys starting to step up a little bit here, Coach Saban still wants to see more from the wide receiver room just due to Alabama graduating Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle both to the NFL draft. Now it's lost all 4 of its aces at wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs III were both first-round picks in 2020, and definitely Smitty and Jalen Waddle will be first-round picks coming up later on this month. So Saban wants to see more of these young guys at wide receiver step up and create role and value for themselves. In terms of the tight end position, we already know what Jaleel Billingsley is, but how about Cameron Latou? I mean, he recently converted a couple of years ago from linebacker to a tight end. He had a couple of touchdown receptions in the first scrimmage, making big plays, showing Coach Saban and the staff that, yes, Jaleel Billingsley, he's the big guy. He's the meal ticket, but I can step up and make some plays here in my own right. So wide receiver room developing, tight end room, Cameron Latou stepping up there. As we move now to the offensive line as the number 3 highlight, you got some young guys here on this line. Bama fans, you got to be patient with this group. The defensive front kind of had their way a little bit with this offensive line, and we knew this was going to happen with Alex Leatherwood gone, Deontay Brown gone, Landon Dickerson gone. Yes, you have experience with Evan Neal, but Emil Ekiyor limited this spring, Pierce Quick limited this spring. You got some good things out of one Chris Owens, but you're playing a lot of young guys. And wow, Damian George and Javion Cohan and Tommy Brown and J.C. Latham and Tommy Brockemeyer, these guys have a lot of talent. These guys have a lot of ability, but they're young. They'll get there. They'll continue to grow. Coach Saban said there's a lot of upside here, but they got to get their sea legs under them right now because they're facing a dominant, a strong, and experienced defense. So they've got to get the kinks worked out. A lot of good things with this offensive line, but you got to be patient with this group as Saban continues to locate, the best consistent 5 guys to put here on this field. Moving on down to the 4th highlight. How about Quincy Kool-Aid McKinstry, the freshman defensive back out of Birmingham, played at Pinson Valley High School. He is getting Coach Saban's attention. Saban talked about it. He's making plays. He's growing. He's learning. He's progressing. Saban mentioned today that he can contribute to this team. He's got the skill set to contribute in the secondary. Now, of course, Saban wants to see him continue to be consistent, play in and play out on the field, but the tools are there, the athleticism's there, the toughness there, the ball skills there, the intangibles are there, everything there for Kool-Aid McKinstry as a freshman to make a huge contribution on this team in the fall. He had a really good scrimmage. And then last but not least here, the defensive line. Folks, the front 7 back here for Alabama football. I was told around 15 sacks, this defensive front guy. And getting to the quarterback, stuffing the run game, guys like Big Tim Smith, big. Justin Aboigbe, Byron Young out there as well. Jamarian Latham, number 93, was involved also at the linebacker position. Christian Harris was doing his thing. Jalen Moody doing his thing. Of course, Will Anderson, Christopher Allen, and both outside linebackers. We expect those two. But how about Shane Lee? Folks, we are experiencing the emergence, the reemergence, the resurfacing of Shane Lee. I was told by sources he's stepping up. He's pushing Jalen Moody. He's making plays. Last year, Coach Saban mentioned in a press conference that he didn't play much at all last year due to a sports hernia injury. We remember him from 2019 making plays, 86 tackles on the season, but he's back, he's healthy, and in the first scrimmage, Shane Lee making some big-time plays. So, folks, first scrimmage here, big things from Bryce Young, big things from the wide receiver room, but they've got a little bit to go, but some big things from the wide receiver room. Offensive line, it's got talent, it's young, be patient with it, but it's got talent. Those guys will continue to grow. Big things from JaQuincy Kool-Aid McKinstry. He's got the tools to make the contributions here to this defense, and that defensive front seven, that front group, it's back, loaded, talented, hungry, flying to the football. Well, this is Stephen M. Smith just providing to you some updates here from the first spring scrimmage of your Crimson Tide.